So 2 more days left until Musashi's banner is out. That being said, one final video in hype for the event. We're going to talk about potential fleets that Musashi could work really, really well in, because as of right now, I'm thinking about what could happen with her when she gets introduced into the game. And knowing that she's one of the most favorited ships to be released in the game as of right now, there is no doubt in my mind that Manju is going to make her pretty damn good. No doubt in my mind. Though, how good she's going to be, who the hell knows? We're going to wait 2 more days to find out. Right, so as of right now, there's 2 possible fleets she could fit into. She could do the BB setup or the hybrid IJN setup. So we'll go ahead and talk about each of these individually. As of right now, if you guys aren't already aware, the main BB setup or the premier BB setup as of right now involves Ulrich, New Jersey, and Vanguard. So that's going to be a backline. And then you have the Vanguard choices of whatever you want. Some people have been doing the E-Girl, Helena, and Plymouth setup as of right now. There's also other choices as well too. You can drop Plymouth for for Drake or Shimakaze. But I think a lot of people are going to start doing the Plymouth route because she does sizable damage as well as buffs your flagship. So there's that. So with that being said, New Jersey's already the top damage dealer as of right now. So she's pretty much getting the flagship spot unless Musashi outdamages her. So she stays. Vanguard is staying because she's the buffer, and you really can't kick out the buffer when it comes to these kind of setups. So that leaves us with Ulrich here getting the boot when Musashi arrives. So new backline step is probably going to be either a Vanguard, New Jersey, and Musashi setup. There may be some occasion where you probably can drop Vanguard, but as of right now, where I see the situation for the most part, New Jersey, Vanguard, and Musashi are definitely going to be the backline setup. Depending on who does more damage, New Jersey or Musashi, they get the flagship spot to get boosted by Plymouth. There could be a possibility that New Jersey sticks to that flagship spot, but again, there could also be the off chance that Musashi does do more damage to New Jersey. Therefore, she gets that slot. We'll have to see on Thursday. Next, the other setup we can do as of right now is the IJN setup. So again, this is the setup that most people or should be running. That's the one I use in my recent video for meta clears, is the hybrid setup for IJN. So what this setup does is essentially, if Musashi, by the off chance that she is a buffer, she's going to replace Nagato. Now here's the thing. Replacing Nagato's buff is very, very difficult. This buff right here is absolutely insane, especially on carriers, because it's a 20% reload and a 20% damage increase to carriers. It is insane, insane, insane. This buff is really, really hard to replace. So if Musashi wants to replace this buff altogether, pretty much not going to happen. But if for some reason she gets a really, really good buff that's better than this or on par with this, then she can easily bench Nagato, because Nagato herself doesn't do nearly as much damage. But again, getting rid of Nagato is really difficult because this buff is really powerful. Very, very powerful. In order to replace Nagato when it comes to bossing content, you pretty much have to do a self damage of like maybe 350k in Meta 15 fights, as well as contribute to buffing up Shinano and Hakuryu, because those two are going to be the biggest damage dealers when it comes to bossing content. So in order to replace Nagato, it has to be a very consistent 350k, because as of right now, Nagato can probably do like 200k if she's lucky on Renowned Meta. So it has to be around 350k, maybe even 400k to compensate the lack of buffs, because even if she does buff up the backlines for IJN, I don't think she's replacing this buff right here. This 4th combined fleet flagship is way too good, way too good. So that is a possibility of Musashi going to there. I think for the most part though, she is probably just going to replace Ulrich and the BB setup to get a New Jersey Vanguard setup with Musashi as the 3rd battleship. Until we get actual buffers in this game, I don't think anything's going to be like super solidified. You can obviously run the Nagato Musashi setup if you want to, But that fleet is kind of lacking in most departments. You can run it for like regular content, I guess, but for most bossing content, I don't think that's going to be the case, because even if you run a Nagato Musashi with a flex slot battleship setup, there's no really good way to go about buffing everything and still getting okay with it. Like your best result is probably going to be like Vanguard, so like a Vanguard Nagato Musashi setup, but that doesn't do as nearly as much damage. If you do Nagato Musashi and New Jersey, then New Jersey doesn't get buffed, but Musashi does. And New Jersey is a good standalone, don't get me wrong, but she definitely does benefit more than most ships in this game when she gets buffed. So it's a weird situation when it comes to running a fleet that involves like Musashi, Nagato, and someone else is really difficult. I say for the most part she's going to be a Musashi New Jersey Vanguard setup, and in some cases you could probably drop out Vanguard for like another damage dealer. Depends on scenario. Maybe she has a good self buff, a good debuff on her own, then she could replace Vanguard. But again, replacing Vanguard right now is really difficult. Even though Vanguard doesn't do as much damage as the other UR battleships, her buff alone is just way too good. It's way too good. So those are my expectations going into Thursday. Kind of excited. Can't wait to see what she does. We're gonna find out in probably like a day and a half when the data mines come in, but you guys won't see me talk about it until like 4 days later, so that's gonna be fun. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one.